tragic accidents just happen all the time in Carroll County. I'm just saying. It's a very, very unlucky place to live. They dropped the charges because it was accidental. You don't accidentally run over somebody and back up and try to do it again. Let's start from the beginning as investigative reporters, right? So you would ask the questions who, what, where, when, and why. Should be easy, right? Of course it is. Yes, I know, you're innocent until proven guilty, but what good does that do you if you are not alive? Well, hello, my silky friends and my shady enemies. Hello to you too. Whew, what a week, right? Oh my gosh. Let me turn on the comments. Sorry. Yeah, it has been, man, it's been a week, both personally and in Delphi, okay? And there are some things I'm very, very concerned about. Let me apologize for the change of, we couldn't help it. You know, we're supposed to be talking Idaho, and CJ is having some internet problems. And look, these are these are the hazards of doing a live stream, okay? So yeah, we're gonna reschedule. We're gonna bring you that this week. We're working out of time. So definitely, and the reason I want to do Idaho is because, we're the way it looks, we're going to be seeing a trial for Coburger or something before we ever see one for Richard Allen. Plus, it's a very important case, and there are a lot of, as CJ says, fumbaloos in that case as well. Man, you really can't dedicate full time to both of these cases. And so I am way behind in Idaho. And so, I know he really knows what's going on. We're going to keep up. I do watch a lot of stuff on Idaho, but haven't covered it since, gosh, maybe early this year or even December of last year. I can't even remember when I took the dark turn into Delphi. And I don't regret it, not for a second, but it is what it is. And hold on to your britches, right? Hello, Raggedy Susan. Good to see you. Polygraph. Good to see you. Hello, Laura Thompson. How you doing today? Kib Kitty, good to see you. You'll be in and out of chat. That's okay. That's okay. You have got to take care of your family first. Excuse me. Yeah, my voice is kind of sketchy because of some screeching I did this morning. And I've got this one, and then y'all, members only at 6 p.m. Let's blow off some steam, okay? Because we need it. All right, we're gonna have some fun. So y'all members, be prepared. If you want to come up on panel with me, we're gonna just we're gonna let it all hang out, but not all. I've let it all hang out before. We're not doing that. It's not that kind of a show. Samantha Springman, hello. All right, let's see. I'll make sure I have gotten everybody who was in here early. All right. So, Delphi. Wow. At the beginning, it seems like forever like this week has been like a month long to me. Um, we were looking for the October 31st hearing, and trying to see if Rozzy and Baldwin would be back pro bono on Richard Allen's case. And a lot of people had high hopes for that, and then everything just got dashed. But then, fast forward, you have a motion for a mandamus. Was it a writ of mandamus? Which basically means, transparency. Like, here's the thing: there are so many parts to this case, so many dockets, so many things that are on the docket that we can't see. And my big question is, why not? If it is in a court, if it is public record, if it is part of this trial, then why can't we see it? Dang it. What's going on? I have never in my whole life seen such a mess of covert activity in my life. But so it's like someone, maybe it was Defense Diaries. Like, y'all, I watch Defense Diaries, love them, absolutely love them. They help explain things because I think I know what I'm reading. When I'm reading the legal stuff, I have a pretty good idea of exactly what's going on. But sometimes there's like some things in there. But what does this mean? Has this happened before? Is this normal? That's what I don't know. Mostly it's not understanding what they're saying. It's, is this normal? So, and I also listen to the prosecutor's podcast. Love that one. And, like we talked about before, even the prosecutor's podcast, they're questioning some things Judge Gull is doing. They're like, well, I don't really understand this. This is kind of odd. So yeah, we've got all that going. I listen to all of them. They're very, very intelligent. But you and I, we're the people, okay? The attorneys have a job. The state has a job to prosecute who they have said is guilty-ish for this crime. Not the only one, but the defense has a job to, prove that he is innocent. So, you've got two opposing sides. They know what they're doing. They do all the legal speak, okay? And that's their profession. But we, the people, somebody out there is going to be on that jury if there is ever a trial, okay? So we, the people, need to know and have the legal right to know what is going on in Indiana. Hello, where are you? Here you are. Hello, Steffa. Good to see ya. So yeah. All right. So why is this important to us? Well, I don't care what side you are on for Richard Allen, but there is a thing called due process. And when we don't have due process, it is a really big problem. Okay? Because remember, this is Indiana, but then there are things called precedents that are set when there's not really a clear-cut decision on a case. Like, you have a vague writing, but you can't always interpret it precisely. When it is interpreted in court and ruled upon by a judge, then it becomes a precedent, which means everybody else in the country is going to go back and cite this case. State of Indiana versus Richard Allen, blah, blah, blah. The courts allowed this, they didn't allow that. Well, it doesn't just affect him. That precedence is set for all of us, where an attorney can go before a judge and refer to this case, how it was ruled on. And there is a very, very high chance that the judge in another case will rule the same way. Okay. So now we're talking about you, me, our family members, our kids, our friends. If there is something that is covert, something suspicious, something that does not seem like it actually maybe agrees with the law and the standard, like, of the way things are done, part of the due process. If that is taken away in one case, guess what? It can affect, and does affect in a lot of cases, all of the cases. That's us. That's us. So I don't care whether you think Richard Allen is guilty as homemade sin or you think he's being railroaded. Due process is important, not just for him, but for you and me. Okay. So we're going to look at some things. Man, I honestly, because I thought I was doing Idaho today, I have some things on the back burner. I've just got some little pieces and snippets of stuff, but I was going to do like a whole show, or actually, I was going to do a video presenting some of this stuff and just let you watch it. But here we are. Here we are live. So let's just go ahead and talk about it. Let me see what you are saying. Hiawatha says, my point exactly. It doesn't matter which flavor Kool-Aid you drink, the prosecutors or the defenses. What matters is our constitutional rights. Yes, yes. And, I have a lot of issues, and I say that our constitutional rights are being violated all of the time and have been for a number of years. In my opinion, there's a lot of things that it just used to not happen, okay? And so it bothers me. It worries me because, let me move my phone somewhere. I don't know where it won't buzz. Okay. The loss of our constitutional rights is, I mean, it's huge. It's huge. And that is what we are fighting for, okay? Not fighting. At this point, I'm not fighting for whether he's guilty or innocent, okay? All right, let me go down here. First of all, let me ask y'all, okay, let me see what Laura Thompson is saying. I was asked why I thought a lawyer would represent someone obviously guilty, not in reference to Delphi, and I told her that everyone deserves representation to, at the very least, to protect their rights. Yes, yes. And me too, Just Deb. Hello, Just Deb. I just want a fair trial. That's me too. That's me too. Want a fair trial. So here is the thing. You are guilty until proven innocent. But let's be real, y'all. Okay? What is the first thing that we think? We know that's what the law says. But the first thing that we think when we see whatever news outlet, break the story, they have arrested somebody in the, Long Island serial killer, case. Okay. And I personally, I will say this. I personally think Huerman is guilty. But I haven't heard anything else. I haven't heard the defensive side. But that's whenever you see an arrest on TV or whatever, you think, oh, okay, this person's guilty because the police arrested him, right? They have to be guilty. But what if that's not true, y'all? What if that is just not the case? What if, not saying anybody is trying to be underhanded in other cases. Y'all know I have a problem with Delphi. But let's say the police arrest someone and they truly believe that the evidence is there. Okay. They truly believe that their investigation, whatever, shows this person, and maybe it really does look bad, but without having the whole story or maybe other people involved, you don't know. Let's look, and one of you mentioned this, and one of you had said, why don't you do this case, as just kind of, not because it's open, just as a reference, but the case of David Camm in Indiana. Now, I'm sketchy on some of the details because it's been a bunch of months, and a bunch of miles since I covered that. But basically, David Camm, he was in law enforcement. I can't remember what he did, but he had been a longtime law enforcement officer. He comes home one evening, and his wife is got the car in the garage, and um, she has been shot, and she has passed away. And he, of course, his child is in the back seat, and he rushes in, and he sees her. He grabs, he realizes, like, there's nothing I can do for her. He reaches into the back seat, gets the child out. He gets blood all over his shirt. Okay. I think there was like 3 trials for this guy, and everybody, he wasn't a great character by some standards. Okay. There were very definitely um accusations, I guess. Maybe they were proven. I don't know. But of infidelity. Okay. So, he all of a sudden, the public's like, well, yeah, he probably did it. He probably, wanted to have a life with somebody else, whatever. And he kept proclaiming his innocence. Well, after 3 trials and all kinds of nonsense, and you find out, I mean, like, when you study it, his phone records say he was there. So they've got him dead to rights, right? The phone records. It proves you were there in the garage at that time with your wife, who obviously didn't do this to herself, and you've got the blood on you. Well, as it turns out, the phone records were proven to be wrong due to Indiana having so many time zones, okay, the crossing over. And anyway, so they could prove by that first, first verdict was wrong because he actually wasn't there until an hour later. But then, you still had the shirt that had the stains on it, and you had one of the forensic people saying, hey, this came from her. This isn't hair. This isn't, this is her spatter. Well, as it goes on, you find out, no, that's not true. That was disproved. So after all this time, all these trials, him screaming, I'm innocent, they did find 2 other perpetrators. Okay. Someone who wasn't even from there. Uh, basically it goes on and on. But David Camm eventually was, that case was thrown out. He was not the perpetrator. But looking at the evidence from the police, from law enforcement side, yeah, this person is just guilty. So you have to understand that you have to know the whole truth. Why is this important? Because everything needs to be let in. All right? Everything needs to be transparent. We're hopefully they're not trying to frame someone. It's Delphi. But it could happen. Don't know that it is happening. Could happen. So, you've got all of these things. Now, this is why it's so important. Yes, you're very right, Laura. The same evidence can be viewed multiple ways depending on the narrative being followed by each person. Yeah, and I think someone said this, and I don't know if it was in a Discord or if it was in a comment somewhere. If you have a preconceived notion, let's say you believe from the very beginning that Richard Allen is guilty, you can go online, you can go look at social media, you can find a million reasons to say that Richard Allen is guilty based upon the narrative that's in your head, based on your beliefs. Same with if you think he's innocent. You can go down these rabbit holes. You can ask about this. You can ask about that. Well, I'm not sure about that timeline. We don't know this particular thing. Was he really there? Was he this? Was he that? What about that bullet? We've done this for months. And if you want to fit that narrative, you most certainly can. Now we got the sons of Odin. And I'm even going back and forth on that now. I'm like, geez, almighty, I don't even know. Did they have something to do with it? You can find a reason. So that is why, everything in the court system needs to be on the up and up, because you can definitely erroneously, not even, you don't even have bad intentions, but you can erroneously believe something that is not true. All right. That is why you have to see all of the evidence. You've got to know what's going on. And you've got to, what do I always say? Keep an open mind, keep balance. Hello, Four Pits. I don't know what you're talking about, exposure. Let me go up. Let me go up and see this. What are we exposing over here? Yes, Samantha, we've been programmed to believe that law enforcement gets the bad guys, so we feel safe in our homes. Well, yeah, and we want to. Yeah, Laura, I think you're right. I started to say ISP, that Cam was a ISP, but I was not sure. Polygraph, I agree with you, and this is the problem. If he passes away before a year from now, I would still think that they should still be looking for more. The state will say case closed. I've said that from the very beginning. Even if Richard Allen is shown to be guilty, in a way, I mean, either way, it could still go against justice either way. But I truly believe if they say he's guilty, then case closed. Yeah, we're not looking for anybody else. Okay, that's him. Even though from the very beginning they said that his charge is not, murder one by himself, that, it was more like an abduction scenario that resulted in, remember, that was the very first thing that shocked everybody. They weren't saying that he was the perp, and they've always said, we're looking for other people. There's more people involved. Today is not the day. So based on that, I want to know, what are you doing, investigators? Not like they're going to come out and tell you, but I have to wonder, have they slowed down the investigation because now they have somebody to blame, to put this on? I mean, now let's take it on the other side. If he's found to be innocent, okay, all of the people that believe he's guilty, and even law enforcement, if they want to write this narrative, they can say, hey, we got your guy. We found your perpetrator. He was not convicted in a court of law. That's not on us. We got your person. Again, case closed. If they want to close this case, or just call it a cold case, or say we never found the other people involved, they're going to be able to do it either way. And I am not okay with that. Yes, absolutely, just Deb. He was not alone. Digital. Did I say hello to you, Digital? I can't even remember now. I'm losing my voice. Yeah. Yes, Laura. Police often fail to collect all the evidence and or claim something is evidence when it's not. They literally took a sketch of our bathroom remodel as evidence. Wow. For Pets, I hope that I hope that you're right, that we have decades of corruption unmasked. And yes, Laura, they use time as a tactic. Okay. Now there's a couple of things. Again, let me tell you this, because I thought we were talking Idaho. I do not have everything pulled up that's somewhere in my files. Y'all ever got like that? I've got what I call a digital junk drawer. Okay. I've got stuff all in there. And you're looking for a screwdriver in your junk drawer and you find everything but, well, didn't have time to go through my digital junk drawer today. There are a couple of things, and probably some other creators have talked about it. I honestly worked a lot, many hours this week, and so I did not get to watch everybody I wanted to watch. There are certain things that I have seen. Some were sent to me um, in private messages, just as a, and I, like I said, I've got the screenshots. I just don't have them up. We're kind of going both ways here. There is a tie, at least on social media. Okay. Now, let me say this. I've got friends I don't know I have on social media. Like, I really don't know y'all. For whatever reason, maybe we met briefly. Well, I don't know. Like, I do a lot of things in public. So I get a lot of friend requests from local people that I don't really know. And who their friends are, I don't know. So let's just say, like, we don't know. But there is, and I've seen this myself, Brad Holder and Brad Rossi have a mutual connection, okay, on social media, which is weird because Rossi has a friend named, I believe it's Erica Huddleston, who is engaged to somebody named Christopher Shank, who is, and like, they're friends, like they're on the friends list. So like, you can kind of follow that. I'm like, Now, again, this is a small area, even, branching out into counties. Like I said, I'd hate to be responsible for some of my my acquaintances on Facebook. But now, another thing on Facebook is that, interestingly enough, Judge Gull, and I believe it's her daughter Christina, and I can't remember what her last name is because I don't have the screenshot up, but they are both friends with Librato. Now, again, you're working in the court system, you know each other. It's kind of like they're co-workers. So I don't put a whole lot of stock in that, except for this point. Okay. I have a lot of friends on social media that I'm not like close with. They're just people I know, maybe people that work, in the same place that I do, but they're not my, beside the desk, whatever, my best bud. But what I will say is that I don't have any people on my Facebook page that I loathe. If I cannot stand them, they are not on my Facebook. I do not accept your friend request. We have to have a somewhat cordial relationship. So, the fact that Gull chose, Scremin and Librato from, her own area, the chances that they've worked together, I think, this is just me, but after the whole fiasco with Baldwin and Rossi, I think that she is probably trying to find someone who is going to generally go with what she says, but kind of, on the, you know, not so dramatic, easy to work with, maybe a lot of other things. But I mean, tell me, what do you think? Like, does that hold a lot of weight with you? Like, does that bother you if they're social media friends? Do you feel like that makes a closer relationship, or is that just because, hey, it's a small town, we all work in the same industry, we see each other in court all the time? I can see it both ways, honestly. Although if it's not somebody I'm fairly close with at work, I don't really care what you had for supper. I don't care, what you're doing. I don't want to see all your family stuff, but that's just me. Um, all right. Just Deb. This is what I'm afraid of. Just Deb says they are under her thumb. That is the part I am afraid of because, all right, we just talked about, they filed the whole motion about a writ of mandamus. My Lord, it's like every dang day this week, something has been filed, or more than one thing. So now you've got, Lord, you've got this one thing with, Baldwin Rossi being off, the new attorneys, and then the others are filing for a writ of mandamus. And then Judge Gull turns around and she's like, oh, hey, I need an extension of 5 days. I believe she wants it to the 19th, or I can't even remember. Don't quote me on that. But she needs an additional 5 days to get these records together. And okay. If it is just motions and things that have been, because that's what the mandamus is, okay? They're saying we want to see everything that is public record on this case. We want it to be where we can access it because we want to read it. And that is our right. All right. So I don't understand why it wasn't. They also wanted, transcript. We want to know what happened in that back room. I have a lot of issues with what happened in that back room. But all right, so they're saying we're petitioning that she make this public. She's like, oh, okay. Well, give me an extra 5 days. Well, I don't understand, and I'm not an attorney, but why do you need all this time? If it was already filed, why can't it just be like made public? Like what are you doing? Okay, is it the transcript? Because if it was being recorded, even if it was, just on camera in her chamber, if it was an audio, if there was a court reporter there, I don't know. And was that even recorded? Because what do you have to do? Go back and I mean, I realize that the conversation may have been several hours long, but still, couldn't you get somebody there, who does that court reporting stuff and, transcribe it? Okay, this one said this. They do it in court all the time. Like, it doesn't take forever. They're just, going to town. I can see like maybe a couple of days. Okay, just make sure, let's listen to it, make sure we got all this right. I don't understand what the big thing is. And if you're just going to unseal something, or make it public, it should already be there. But she asked for some extra time. So then the latest thing that came out on Friday is like from the Supreme Court. You've got these y'all, I'm sure have seen all this. But you have all this other stuff that came out, and they're saying basically the state of Indiana, the Attorney General's office is saying, hey, Gull, we're not representing you in this, which I find mind-blowing. Okay, I don't know. Now, I haven't seen it. I've heard that there are some issues going on with the Attorney General. I haven't had time, honestly, to look it up. I don't know if he just wants to stay. I would. If I was the Attorney General, I'd be like, you on your own. I got my own problems. I don't want my name associated with this. But that's just me. However, when the Attorney General doesn't want anything to do with it and says, we're not representing you in this. If I were the judge, I'd be terrified. I just would. Let me go. I saw Sleuthy Goosey in here. Hey there. I am so far behind. Okay. Because she's going to fight it. The writ that has to do with her disqualifying the attorneys hasn't been filed yet. Yes. She's going to fight the one about releasing records, which is the only one up right now. Yeah. So, I mean, and here's the thing. I, as a citizen, completely believe that Richard Allen's Sixth Amendment rights were violated. I mean, I do. Like, you can't, okay, it's one thing to have a court-appointed attorney. And I'm going to go through some of these things. These are things that I was thinking, all right, and that I wrote down. Again, I was going to do a whole video on this, but, we're flying by the seat of our pants today because of the cancellation. Hello, Lambert. But yeah, this bothers me because if I am in jail, and yes, I understand you get what you get when you get court appointed attorneys, but now they're doing a great job as far as he's concerned. He wants to keep them, and the judge is saying no, and they're like, well, we'll do it for free because we believe. And this is what I personally believe about that statement. I've heard so many people say, well, they want the notoriety, they want the money. Yeah, maybe some notoriety because this is a huge case, but I don't think it's money. Okay. They've been doing this for a long time. I think that's not the motive here. Maybe if they were young starting out, that would be different. I look at it and I think if they're going to all of this, through all of this, they must think that Richard Allen is innocent. Now, that's my opinion that they think that. I don't see any other reason why they would fight so hard. But now you've got the judge just let me bring up some stuff. Well, we'll get to it. Okay, that hearing, the hearing that never was. All right. She's saying they the court found. All right, let me just pull this up because I get really, really upset about this stuff. Hello, Margaret. Okay, Adjusted Fate says, yeah, she thinks the Facebook stuff is just, I know, yeah. It could be. It could be. She's gonna once the new writ drop, as she should. She's gone rogue. I agree. And she needs stopped. What she's doing when the whole world isn't watching. What is she doing when the whole world isn't watching? Sorry about that. It ends now. Thank God for truth and justice seekers. Yes. Yes, because she's just going, she has, that is the perfect word, Sleuthy. She has gone rogue. I think, and what this tells me is that she's used to doing this in Allen County. All right. I don't think this is her first rodeo. I think Gull, based on the way that she's acting in this case, has been running things her way for a long time. Because why else would you just turn around and, slice through the Sixth Amendment? Why would you, say there was a hearing when there wasn't a hearing? And say this is our findings when there wasn't any findings because there wasn't a hearing. It's just like y'all were talking in the back room, and then you come out and say, "Oh, well, we found." Well, you never let the defense present their case, right? So it wasn't a real finding. So here we are, and she's just doing what she wants, y'all. If you can't see that this has probably been going on in Allen County for a long time, then wake up, because you don't start out as a judge defying the Constitution. It ain't like, you know what? I'm good. I'm good. I think I'll just take some scissors and tear it up. And that's exactly what she's done. And the problem is not just for Richard Allen, but for you and me. If this happens there, let's say they allow it, it sets a precedence. Then sometime down the line, somebody, either me or somebody I love in Alabama, is in the same situation, and they're like, oh, well, they did it in Indiana, we're just going to do it here too. It is so detrimental to our rights and to due process. Y'all know, I put out that video, and I just did it straight from Reddit, but read that case of I put it out a couple of days ago. No music, no nothing, just read it. And this is what happened because everything was same situation. Due process was just thrown out the window. You ended up with someone who, like, the whole thing was over, the whole thing thrown out. Like, you got a verdict that has been reversed now. Like, you've just wasted all this time. We don't want to see that. I'm going to tell y'all something. I love y'all Delphi people. I really do. A lot of you have become friends over the last year. But I don't want to be talking about Delphi for the next 8 years. Okay, there's tons of things out there that are important, other important cases. So, it's crazy. Let me go back up here. Yeah. Sleuthy just said the same thing. Yeah. You can't make a finding without evidence. Yeah, what are you finding? I think you're finding a new set of lower ornaments that you've got hidden under your gown. That's what you're finding, because you have got a big set to go against the Constitution and just make up crap. And that is my opinion, and I am entitled to it. But that is beyond bearing. As a citizen, as a taxpayer, as someone, who wants to be protected by the Constitution in the United States. This is an affront to me, and it should be to all of y'all. Now, again, has nothing to do with whether he's guilty or innocent. At this moment, I don't care. What I care about is that Judge Gull is not just making up the rules as she goes. Again, that shows me that this has probably, most likely, been going on for some time, because you've got to feel comfortable doing this. This ain't your first rodeo. In my opinion, it shows this is how she runs her courtroom. And if this is how she runs her courtroom, then God help the people in Allen County, Indiana. Because if you are not on, her good side, this will happen to you, to someone you love. Okay. All right. You're right, Four Pits. Kangaroo court. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, digital. I'm telling you. So for 5 or 6 years, Doolin can't even recognize RA, and suddenly he remembers the exact time he was on the bridge, but can't find his notes or audio. And that's not a red flag. Yeah. And then, we've also been told it was not Doolin. It was Doolin. It wasn't Doolin. It was somebody else. No, it was Doolin. Like, y'all just making crap up. Yes, in 5 or 6 years you can forget, absolutely. But that note should be there. My favorite part of that whole thing was when they said, oh, it was misfiled by the FBI. They're the ones that made the fumbaloo, right? FBI screwed it up. And the FBI comes out and like, it wasn't us. That's on you, buddy. We did not do this. Well, okay. So if the FBI is saying we didn't take that report, that's not on us. Well, Delphi, what's up? Because I'm just saying, if I am an officer, conservation doesn't matter. They can still, that it's over the waterways and that kind of stuff. Still an officer. If I'm an officer and somebody tells me, hey, just, FYI, I was on the bridge around that time, that day, sometime, that's disputed now. I am not going to forget that. Okay. I'm not going to forget that, because there are a limited amount of people who were on the bridge. Okay. It wasn't like, a music festival and there were thousands of people, even hundreds of people. It's a small town. It's a small place. You had a limited, although all these other people say they were there. Like, that's crazy. Everybody's out there on February 13th, which is weird. When Robert Ives, the prosecutor, said, I don't even know why anybody would be out there. Nobody goes out there, pretty much in that interview. Like, I don't know. I don't even know why somebody would be out there. But yet half the dang town was out there. But still, it's a limited amount of people. So if you talk to somebody that says, I was there on the bridge, like, I don't know, you are not saying it on purpose, or it never really happened, or it happened and you absolutely knew that had nothing to do with it. Like, yeah, I'll take this report, but obviously you're not who we're looking for. Or you only have 2 brain cells in your head and they're not rubbing together until 5 or 6 years later. All right. It's one of those answers. But that's just my opinion. I'm wound up today, like an 8-day clock. This is what happens when I have a few days off. Okay. Yes, we're going to talk about that. This isn't part of my stuff, too. Why isn't the judge going after those that leaked much more information when Thomas sued Carroll County? That was way before RA was even arrested. Yeah. And then you got the Hatch Act, which I read up on that just a few days ago. They decided, oh, well, because of this and this, they didn't violate the Hatch Act, whatever. You know what? I think it was going to happen the way they wanted it to happen anyway. It would have been nice to, have a reason. But let me show you. Let me go over here. All right. Just so I don't forget some things. All right. I found this. Let me go back to here. All right. Timing is everything. I did think that this was a little sus. Maybe, let's be honest. Sometimes things just happen. They happen. Maybe it is fortuitous. Maybe it was good timing. It just happened to work out that way. But sometimes you gotta wonder, at least question. Okay, the dismissal of Rossi and Baldwin occurred one day, okay, on the 31st. She wouldn't let them in, even pro bono. One day before the prosecution had to turn over their discovery. Because remember, a couple weeks ago, they said, hey, we're going to trial in January. We have got to have time. And then you got the holidays. And a lot of people take off like big time during the holidays. We're starting the first week of January. We have got to have all of the discovery, all of the, the stuff that you're going to use. Please make it a deadline. I was kind of surprised because I have heard that she didn't have to, but she all of a sudden said, you know what? I find that reasonable. Yes, prosecution, you have to turn this over by November 1st. But lo and behold, on the 31st, she's like, you're out next year. Next year. All right. So they didn't have to do anything. Is it coincidental? Possibly. Look, like I said, things happen. But if they had had a hearing, all right, let's back up. If they had a hearing on the 31st, or even the 19th, they had a hearing and she had decided, you know what, even though, it's like a 3-ring circus with this leak of information, I'm going to let y'all stay on the case, even pro bono. The trial would have been back on track. Therefore, if she had let them on November 1st, that would have been their deadline. So if they were having a big problem with that, and she favors the prosecution, which honestly, that's what it looks like to me, then I'm going to say, this is mighty suspicious. You just went ahead and just said no to everything. You just wrote your own rules. You threw the Constitution out the window. And now, oh, guess what? Prosecution, take the weekend off. Enjoy the rest of the week. You deserve a vacation because you don't have to do squat. We've got a whole year. I'm just saying. It looks sus. All right. So that was the first thing that bothered me. Now, the next thing that bothered me is her term of gross negligence. Now, I 100% agree that this was a horrible thing that happened. However, these aren't the only leaks in the case, and we'll discuss that in a minute. With all of the things going on, I'm not sure that now, would it have been, in my opinion, would it have been more of gross negligence had Baldwin said, yeah, you know what, I really did leak it, or somebody or if there was a way to say it was 100% him, there was not a third party involved, it was just him passing out the crime scene photos and passing out information, then I would say, yeah, that's pretty bad. That is gross negligence or something. And definitely should he have been off the case if that is, what he did. I would say that comes a lot closer to gross negligence than what we have been told and what, is stated on the court papers. Oh, Hiawatha. Yeah, you know what? I just saw that. I had to add this in here. I just saw this the other day. So Slick Nick, he has vanity plates that says the boss on it. It's pretty obvious McClellan runs the show. Yeah, yeah. Interesting. I'll say that. Hybrid Pisces, I find it so hard to believe that a rogue judge is just another Delphi anomaly versus it all being part and parcel. Yeah. I mean, how many, things that are, what is the word? How many anomalies can you have before you just say, y'all have fallen down the vortex, like, of insanity? Anomalies. That's a good word. Anomalies. We've got a lot of anomalies. And I love this, suggested fate. It's not an anomaly when it's the norm. Yes, absolutely. I hope, oh my gosh, Scott, I hope you are right on this. She will never hear this case. Her days on the bench as far as Delphi are over. Hearing that as many as a dozen attorneys have written briefs to the Supreme Court as friends of the court. Yes. And that's the other thing, now you have people like it is like a 5-ring circus. Like, you have far surpassed Ringling Brothers. Okay. Like, there's so many little rings going on at the same time. It's like, dear Jesus. So yeah, on top of all of the other stuff, you have some other attorneys that are saying, yeah, basically this is unconstitutional. They're getting involved. The attorney general says, "Oh, I ain't representing you," and you've got her just, doing whatever in the heck she wants. It's like, you don't even know. I would say it's a train wreck, but it's like 5 trains coming from different directions and hitting, in different. You don't even know where to look. I look here, I look there, and I'm like, I don't even know. I can't even see the body count on one of these before something else hits. Sleuthy. Side note, I have a question about Nick's boss license plate. Does anybody remember the girl from the Diary of a Mad Escort? The one who got Fouts in trouble. Are you talking about Jalen Raines? Does anybody remember the girl? I remember. Yeah. I think her stuff is actually still on. I think her stuff is still on YouTube, I believe. It doesn't seem like I watched it again not too long ago. Okay, how do I do this? I've got a comment up that I can't. It's kind of stuck there. All right. Yeah, like, look, y'all are mentioning a lot of other people, and I will say this. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Some people need to do a lot of explaining about what they were doing on the trails. Let's see what this says. They were facing to have, hold on, let me just move it back here. They were facing to have to turn over multiple things. I listed them out. Things that hadn't been turned over that the defense knew existed. Police reports from Elvis' sister, Westfall interview, etc. Yeah, and here's the thing. Did y'all see Westfall? He was oh my gosh, Westfall was on, was it Sleuth Intuition a couple weeks ago? I don't he did a lot of talking, explaining, and I don't know. I don't know. I'll just tell you, I don't believe anybody in this case. But yeah, you were right. You're absolutely right. We're going to have to turn over a lot of things. And here's the thing. Look, in my opinion, the prosecution has spun the narrative. Law enforcement has spun the narrative for 6 years. All of a sudden, we don't know anything. Everything's under wraps. And in September, you have the defense coming out with a document that makes everyone take a massive, your pants are just dirty, okay? I don't want to say that on YouTube, but like everybody takes a massive, whatever, because you're like, holy crap. And, of course, everybody is, we're all horrified with Odin. We're horrified with a lot of things. And then we all start thinking, yeah, but it was staged. It was staged. So how much of that is really true? I don't. Now I'm coming. This is just me personally. I'm not saying I'm in this camp 100%, but I'm kind of coming around the bend again on this one. Was there some involvement? There are a lot of things that suggest it. I'm not sure if it's staging, but it was. Let me say this: the biggest one is it is a particular occult ritual time. So is that a coincidence? A lot of things, and we'll get there. Some of you are talking about. Oh, okay, Digital. You said Greeno said he asked his lawyer, not Fouts, and that it is illegal for Rosalind Baldwin to come back on the case. How is it illegal? Can somebody tell me that? Because I thought they could do pro bono. Like, why would it be? Is it because, unless it's because it was, determined to be gross negligence. Let's go back to that. Okay. It wasn't. Maybe it would have been, but it wasn't. Why wasn't it? Because to say it's gross negligence and to have a hearing, to have I'm sure you read that document where Baldwin is saying, hey, we didn't have, like, we were going to show you through witnesses, through an affidavit by which Mitch Westerman, who is the guy that was friends with Baldwin and that, actually took the pictures, whatever all he sent out, I don't know, but he's the one that did that. And there was going to be an affidavit from him. There were going to be other testimony, other stuff, and Richard Allen had the right to say something. So you determined it was gross negligence, but that wasn't legal. That is your opinion, Gull. That's your opinion. You've got one, I've got one, but there was not a hearing to determine. Now, if it was determined, if they had a hearing and everything was on the up and up and it was decided that it was gross negligence, then I can see where they would not be able to come on. But that's only half of that. Oh, thank you. I can't see nothing. Mother Dragons, thank you very much. That is so sweet. Okay. I know, let me just say this. I know there are some people that have mixed feelings about Greeno. But I think he would be right if it was gross negligence. All right. Wow. Still waiting for someone to find a single Indiana court case where attorney was booted off a criminal case for gross negligence. Yeah, I'm not sure what all that would entail. Maybe not just, to me, leaking the photos, unless, okay, leaking the photos. Not saying it was a brilliant idea, even if Baldwin had done it, which I don't think he did. But even if he had leaked them for some nefarious reason, I don't know if that I would call that gross negligence. Definitely negligence. Um, but I would say, in my opinion, gross negligence would have been more on the order of something like Baldwin took the pictures and was sending them out and charging people money on the dark web or wherever and giving people, this information if they paid him big bucks, which we already know that was a thing with somebody else. So if Baldwin was doing that, I would absolutely say, yeah, that is gross negligence. Oh, I'm not getting paid to do this case, I got assigned to it. It wasn't my choice. Hey, I'm going to make some money off of that. Would be gross negligence, in my opinion. And that would definitely uh, show a disregard for the fate or the whole trial of Richard Allen. Because if you could do something like that, then you obviously don't care what happens to your client and you're not in it for justice. So that would be gross negligence, in my opinion. And obviously, that is not what happened. Um, let's see. Yes, and I will, Hiawatha, I will say this about the unaliving. I Let me tread carefully here because everything is rumor. And I know even from the first day the first time I, reported this and we talked about it, I said there could have been some very other serious reasons. Was he depressed? Just looking at from a mental health perspective or a situational with your family, whatever. People don't usually unalive themselves for, it's usually a lot of buildup and it's time, it's thought, it's planning. So for someone to do this, because would he have been ridiculed? He wouldn't have been a very popular person, but definitely not the full reason. I have heard, and I am not going to say what I have heard because it's not good. I have heard that there were some other legal issues that potentially uh, could have been following him around. And if what people have said is true, then I see the whole thing coming together as but I wouldn't say him even if I was 100% sure, because guess what? He has family, he has friends, and there are people that, the worst has happened. Okay. Let's not make it worse. All right. Nothing we can do now. So let's just leave that one alone. But I always have thought there were potential reasons. For Pitts. I mean, hey, if we have to sign petitions, whatever, what do we have to do? Uh, put on, I don't know, put on gorilla suits and march through the town. I don't know. I'm up for it. Where Thompson wants to be boss hog. Oh, somebody make a meme. Somebody make a meme. That would be too funny. All right. Hello, Michelle and Janie Lane. All right, let me go to the next thing. So I already talked about, I don't think there was gross negligence. I don't think that is, in my opinion. And there was no hearing. So what you got Baldwin and Rosie kicked off for Judge Gull's opinion. She said it's gross negligence. Bye. Deuces. Not constitutional, Judge. All right. Rosie. Okay, and this is my other thing that bothers me. Again, I understand if you want to blame Baldwin, okay? He sent the wrong email with attachments to Brandon Woodhouse. That was a big fumbaloo, okay? You want to get upset because, Mitch Westerman took the photos. Should they have, from his office, Should they have been under lock and key? Yes. Have we, a lot of us, made mistakes with people that we love, trust, coworker, you think they've got your back, you never, bad misjudge of character? Okay, I can see. I still don't think it's gross negligence, but I can see the judge being really upset with Baldwin and saying, you know what, the first leak was bad enough, and now this one that causes so much distress because it's so graphic and, it's disrespectful to the girls and, leaking the case. You are grossly negligent after the hearing. But Rozzy is in a different office, okay? Rozzy is not in the same group of people as Baldwin. So why is Rozzy off the case? Why is he grossly negligent? This guy just, going around doing his, attorney thing, and all of a sudden he's like, dang, kind of my partner over here in this case has just had his rear end handed to him. But why is that Rozzy's fault? I don't understand. Unless they can prove something came from Rozzy, I don't, Richard Allen should be able to have him as an attorney, at least one of them. I don't agree with any of it, but if you're going to crucify Baldwin, you have to say, what did Rozzy do? Guilt by association. I'm going to tell you something. I don't want to be guilty by some of the boneheaded moves my friends or coworkers make. Don't judge me on that. Don't judge them on my boneheaded decisions, because I can make them too. All right. Let's see. Truth Justice, hello. Good to see ya. Good to see you. I don't know what y'all are talking about. Can we not do this on Silky's channel? I don't know what you're talking about, y'all. And now I don't even know what, it's not illegal. I'm not even sure what that is. Okay. Because I talk so much. All right, let's keep going. Because I am not going to get through the second half of this, but that's all right. All right, here's my big question. Okay, so we've got the defense over here. They've been some bad boys. They've been bad. They've been leaking. They've been, writing dramatic documents, whatever you want to say about Baldwin and Rozzy. They're, whatever. But this is not the first leak in the case, okay? We've had leaks for 5 years prior to Rozzy and Baldwin. We got leaked text. We got all kind of stuff. You have a lot of leaks from the back end of the, Hannah Shakespeare thing, right? It's not exactly the legal stuff, but this is. Okay, so when Kegan Kline was interviewed and the murder sheet put this whole thing out, where did they get that? Who leaked that? I mean, that wasn't up there just for the public to say, oh, hey, by the way, we talked to your guy Kegan, and this is what he said. So obviously somebody from that side, because there wasn't a Richard Allen in the mix at that time, not the problem. We've got Kegan, and we've got this whole thing that the murder sheet has. We're, sources. What sources? I know you don't have to, talk about it, but the thing is that came from law enforcement. That came from the law enforcement side. Now, whether it was directly them or whether it was their friend, their brother, somebody in their office that they trusted, whatever. It's not the first leak. So, why are we getting all upset? I mean, I do understand there's a big difference between the leaked photos and this interview. Not the same thing by any stretch. Okay. So let me make that clear. But still, it came from that side, but we're not going to talk about things that came from law enforcement, right? We're just going to talk about the defense, and they're the only ones that we're going to look at here. I have a problem with that. Who are, let's see. Okay. Janie Lane. I asked him, and I think are we talking about Westfall? I asked him if he was a white supremacist, and he said he was a nationalist with another adjective. I cannot. Yes, that is what he said on Sleuth when Sleuth interviewed him, because I listened to that a couple of times. I mean, definition of nationalist does not mean supremacist, but in those groups, that's kind of what it means. Okay. I can say I'm a nationalist, but if I'm not a part of a group, I'm just sitting here in my living room in my pajamas and I'm like, yeah, I believe in, I believe our nation first, take care of us, all the different things that they subscribe to, okay, their beliefs. I can say, yeah, I believe this and this, but I'm not part of a group that has a lot of, white supremacy in it. So you can't say he is or isn't on that statement alone. Now you can. What we went over this a month or so ago. Remember, I had pulled up for you was on the website. It was, God, I can't remember. This is what happens when you work too much. But anyway, he was part of the Vinlanders. It was all on there on the January 6th thing. It's a big article. It's, and I cited that. That's been, about 3 or 4 weeks ago. Hey, Patrick Westphal is in those pictures. It talks about what they stand for, the whole 9 yards. So, come on. In my opinion, you have the right to believe what you want to, okay? It's a free country. It is not illegal to be, I hate to say it, I hate that it's this way, but it's not illegal to be a racist, and you're like, as long as you're not harming anybody, if you have these thoughts or you have these beliefs, it's not illegal to believe what you want to. However, it doesn't usually stay in people's head is the problem. So it's not illegal to be that, but when you are in a group like the Vinlanders, you're making like some open statements, and there's some very rough, questionable activities. Okay, and let me just say this, lest you misunderstand what I just said. I am not okay with people being racists. Okay, I'm not okay with that at all. But am I saying it is your right? There are a lot of things that people do that I do not agree with, and I think it's horrendous. Is it illegal? No. To have those beliefs. Now, you want to take it too far, put, your bed sheet over your head and go, harass somebody, that is a crime. And you're a crappy person for it on top of it. But that's just my opinion. But you can say you're a nationalist, but being a Vinlander does mean something else. Okay, so you can look up and not saying that he has committed a crime. I wasn't there. I don't know for sure. But to say you're not a white supremacist, I think is a stretch when you're a Vinlander. Okay, just my opinion. All right. Let me go just a little bit further. All right, so we talked about Kagan Klein. Realize I know it's off the table right now, but still, again, the point is we've had leaks. Now, here's the other problem. All right, you're the judge. Now, I realize the trial hasn't come up, but you're the judge, and you're having a total and complete breakdown because somebody stole some stuff out of the defense attorney's office, or a wrong email was sent, whatever, and you are kicking everybody off the case. But you already know, because it's already public, that the people in question, you go look at that Frank's motion, and you're going to see Nick McClellan, you're going to see Tony Liggett and Tobe Leesenby all lying. All lying. Now, Nick is saying, oh, we don't know who the professor is. He's got all these emails that they cite. We don't know who he is. We don't know if we can find out. Boom. As soon as this, comes out and the pressure's on, the next day, there he is, Purdue professor. And what he said was completely different than what, Liggett said. They're like, and was it Holman? They're saying, oh, the Purdue professor, we can't remember his name, don't know if he's even there. Like, he said, has nothing to do with Sons of Odin. But when we find out it's, what is his name, Jerry Turco, something like that, we find out, oh, voila, we have produced the Purdue professor, and this is what he said. And also, oh, FYI, I talked to a guy at Harvard that says the same thing. These are definitely signatures. All right, so you now have, go through that 136 pages, and you're going to see excerpts from their actual affidavits that say they lied. They straight up lied. Yet, and I know this is part of the case, you're going to get your panties in a wad because somebody leaked information, but the state's over here just lying. We're one right after another. Well, I really, because it doesn't have to do with due process. It does have to do with the trial. This kind of stuff comes out, and I'm sure this is about the time that Tony, Tobe, and Nick all took a massive, dump. And, as they are squeezing their legs together, like, make the hemorrhaging stop, okay? Because this is the last thing they wanted to be brought out to the public. I mean, we're not even in trial, right? It's a problem. I was shocked. But, what I'm saying is, if you're looking at character, okay, let's say, I don't believe that that Baldwin and Rozzi have the right character. They're not going to work in the best interest of Richard Allen because look how shady they are leaking information. I know it's not, I know that it was, a hearing thing, but come on, look at the other side. Look, they're just ripping and running, and you're not putting the skids on them, is what I'm saying. It's like you're only putting the skids, in my opinion, that's what it looks like. Because we've got so many things that aren't even public, things that are we don't even know. We don't even know all of the motions and all the stuff that's going on in this trial because they're hidden. Like, what the heck is this about? Even. Thank you, Janie Lane. I appreciate that. Hello, Mark. Hello. I don't want to just skip anybody. All right. Again, my opinion, but you can't look at one person's character and not another. All right. We already talked about this. There was no hearing to have a finding for gross negligence, right? It didn't happen. No hearing, no finding. If there's no hearing, no finding, there should be no gross negligence. I want to know. I want to hear. I mean, will they have a transcript only of what was said in chambers between Rozzi, Baldwin, McClellan, whoever, and Gull? I hope. I mean, I don't know. I'd like to have both. What I want to hear, though, hey, if we have a transcript, that's fine. I'd like to see it. But there's a lot of things a transcript doesn't tell you, okay? A transcript doesn't tell you the nonverbal motions, the nonverbal cues, the tone of voice, the way that somebody says something. You can say something and said a certain way, that person knows exactly what you mean and feels threatened. It's not the actual words, okay? So for that reason, I would love, oh my gosh, I would love to hear it. Love to see a video of it, was I'd like to do, but all right. And let me keep going here. Let me hold on. All right. The last thing, timing is everything. Again, we started with this. Timing is everything. Stopping the November 1st discovery, that's huge. When the prosecution had to turn over everything. And here's where timing gets me too. All right. Apparently, now I've heard different stories, but apparently this information leaks have been in this case for months, much longer than, just in October. People have had this information. They've been sitting on it. There are many good sources that say they have had it since either the end of last year or spring of this year. Now, my question is, and here's the thing, kind of back with the gross negligence. Okay, we have all of this out here. Let's go back to those photos because this is important. We know that the photos have been leaked. Multiple creators and people have said, I have seen the photos. But what we haven't seen is nobody has actually shown those photos. All right. I don't think anywhere I have, unlike the whole case. Remember, we had that case a few months ago where the creator was selling them for her members only. Like, hey, you pay me this much, I'll show you the photos. Terrible. And I did a video on that. But we didn't have any of that unless it was done covertly, members only. But hey, if it had been in somebody's members only, I don't care whose. Somebody's members only, even if they're paying to, sorry about that. Even if they're paying to be there, like, people can't keep their mouth shut. People are notorious for that. So let's say I'm in X creators, special VIP club, and they say, hey, I've got the photos. If you give me an extra $20, I'll show them to you. Somebody would have leaked that. Okay. People cannot be quiet no matter what. They cannot keep their mouth shut. So we haven't seen the photos. So is it getting out negligence? Yes. But it's not like they are just, far and wide and everybody has seen them. Okay. The creators, I'm not excusing anybody. Okay. Not trying to say, it's even good or bad, whatever. I'm just saying nobody has shared those on their channel the way that others have in the past. They are still under wraps, even though apparently a lot of people have seen them. They're not, unless you're going to be picked for the jury pool. You haven't seen, and they will not see those crime photos until trial. Yeah, they shouldn't be out there. Was it horrible that it happened? Yeah. But it's not general knowledge, okay? It has not swayed the public because they haven't been seen. So that is, to me, a huge thing also. I don't even want to say kudos to those that didn't share them because it's a whole bad thing in general. But I am very pleased that we haven't seen them pop up everywhere, all right? And I'm about to wind this down because in a little while we're just gonna have fun. Okay, we're gonna have fun. That will start at 6. Let's see. Let's see here. The fact that some are stating he did this solely due to guilt about releasing them and fear of getting in trouble. Yeah, it is. I think the whole thing is disrespectful. First of all, we don't know. And if you don't know, and even if you think you know, you don't know. Because you weren't inside Forston's head. Okay? Forston, whichever one it is. Fortson. You're not inside his head. All right. You don't know. You don't know. And let's not guess. Let's not taint anything. We don't know what we're talking about. Okay. We just don't. Does anybody, hey, Unmasked, does anybody know what's going on with Woodhouse? Last I heard, his house was like searched. Like they did a shakedown on his house, and I think he went to jail. I am not 100% on that, but that's the last I heard, and that was several weeks ago. Let me keep going here. Hello, Margaret. All right. So how do you, I know y'all are putting tons of good things here in the comments, as you always do. Y'all are so amazing. Okay. Thank you for using that word. She 2000. I haven't seen you before, but welcome. I love this because I heard this on somebody else's channel, and I'm like, I hate saying the word unalived. It's a stupid word. I don't even think it's a word. We use it on YouTube because we have to. I love this red rum. But she 2000 says those beliefs are demonic and lead to red rum and bad things for our society. But yeah, you have that right. I agree. 100%. 100%. I love that red rum. I knew I heard a term the other day, and I'm like, I'm going to use that. And then, 5 minutes passed, and I forgot. ADD. What can I say? All right. Yeah. Janie Lane is talking about sus that. Yeah, I'm just going to throw this up here. I make it a policy. For those of you who don't always know me and what I'm doing, I personally make it a policy to not, no matter how much I might dislike personally a creator or somebody involved, I try not to cast any shade on another creator. So I'm not trying to start a war. I watch who I watch. I like who I like. And if I don't like you, I don't watch you. I just don't. Okay. Enough said. You're dead to me. So that is, but so I'm not going to cast shade that direction, but you are right. It says that Murder Sheet interviewed Mitch Westerman, and I'm guessing forged a relationship with him during that time. Wasn't that that was like months ago. And that very person somehow leaks the photos to someone else. Now, it is sus. You're right. I am not accusing them. What I'm saying is, like, there have been several things. And here's what I think, okay? To me, this tells me that somebody is leaking information. And I would almost lean towards somebody in investigations or law enforcement because of the nature of things that have been leaked. I have to wonder who is directly, they have their sources and they have every right not to say who is giving them information, okay? Can't force them to tell you. I honestly think that it is law enforcement of some kind. Now, who it is, I don't know. People have thrown out names. As a journalist of whatever kind they are, I mean, I know he's an attorney. Should you share everything you get? I mean, I don't know. It's discretion. Like I said, they have the right to not share their sources, and it's a sticky line. Okay, it's a hard place. When somebody gives you, I know I've been given a lot of information, and some of you don't understand why I don't share some of it. There are reasons that I don't, because I don't always think, even though it's stuff I'm glad that I know, it's not always morally correct, or it's not like illegal. It's just, you know what? I don't think that is the look that I want to give this channel or who I am as a person. Yes, if you want to talk to me about something that you know, I'm not going to go out and just, be half cocked and just go out here and say, well, so and so. I had somebody tell me, no, I know a lot of stuff. And, it's okay. It's okay not to share it. All right. Some things shouldn't be. That's just my opinion. That's the way I do it. You do it however you want. Your channel, you do it however you want. All right. We are going to wrap this one up. I just want to tell you, along with catching up on Idaho with CJ, we are going to also be looking at stuff that, oh my gosh, I have been studying this whole thing of staging. And then there's some other, oh my gosh, there's just some other information that I have come across. And I just want to share it with you because sometimes we just need to look at it together. All right. What do you think about this? Do you think this is legit? It's almost like talking to you saying, is this possible? What do you think? Because you out there, you lovely people, have the best minds. You really do. You are constantly looking for that. You're looking for all of the hidden information, the cracks, the connections. Like, look, it's important. It's important if we want justice for Abby and Libby, all right? And we want everybody involved to go down. And that's me. I don't want one person going down for this crime because to the bottom of my soul, I do not believe that one person committed this crime. I believe it is impossible. So let's figure out who is involved. If it's RA, fine. If it's not, fine. I don't care. I want justice for all of the girls. All right. Because I was just thinking again, this is a Boys on the Tracks story if I ever heard one. If you don't know that one, good gracious. We did a couple of videos on that. That is the most, probably even up, including Delphi, it is probably the most crazy, even more crazy than Delphi. Still, they know who did it. They know exactly who did it. 30 years later, they know who did it. Never been prosecuted. Man, it'll make you mad. I don't want that for Abby and Libby, okay? I don't want that. And that's why so many of us fight so hard to call out things that are wrong. Not just for Abby and Libby, yes, for our constitutional rights, but definitely, I don't want to see corruption going on. And like, look, we've got some more Delphi Hall of Shame. Y'all cannot believe the crap that you can find. Just a small Google search. Hiawatha, you're probably right. She's probably saying that, the chamber meeting was a hearing, but it wasn't because there were no other witnesses. That just didn't get to be done. All right, y'all, I've got to catch up with your stuff. I'm gonna make sure there's no other, because I know everybody's got stuff to do. Plus, my members and I are gonna play. We're just gonna play. We'll play some things. Did y'all like this crazy rules, the crazy laws, whatever? Unmasked said you learned about voice. Yeah, look, I'm telling you, if you got something else you want to occupy your mind, go look at Boys on the Tracks. Fascinating. All right. I appreciate y'all so much. This is definitely, every time I think, I'm like, we're done. Okay. We're done for now. It's going to be quiet for a little while. Let's talk about another case. There is another thing. And I think, obviously, what's going on is other attorneys are getting together and filing issues about Judge Gull. I hope you're right. In my opinion, and this is all it is my opinion, She has proved herself unfit to be the judge of this case, going around just making, decisions, taking away rights. It is so abhorrent what she's done. I am extremely angry. Angry for Indiana. I'm angry for myself and the United States and the whole justice system, okay? And I hope that they win. I hope they say, yeah, you know what? You have gotten too big for your britches. And that's putting it mildly. You're just making up stuff. And obviously, this is what you're used to doing. And that's not okay. That's not okay. All right. I am so happy you all joined me. Again, I'm going to leave you. I'll be back in a little while for members. Tell me, I'm going to leave this up for a little while. Because like y'all are having a good conversation. Tell me what you think about anything that we talked about. We're going to go on, like I said, talk about some other things with Delphi. It's a new day every day. Whatever you do, remember, if you're in Indiana, for God's sake, stay safe. Whatever you do, please just stay silky, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.